Welcome back to A New York State of Mind. Hi, I'm your host, Ralph Miranda. I'm joined by our producer, Nathan Miranda, and it's time again for our Yankees series recap. Today, we're recapping the recently completed series with the Minnesota Twins. The Minnesota Twins are 57-64 in fourth place in the Central Division, and the Twins are currently... the Twins are currently way down, 7 games out of a wild card spot. So I said a long time ago, I'm going to go over it here at the end of the podcast. I laid out a scenario for you for the rest of August of what I thought the Yankees needed to do against their opponents. One of them was the Twins, obviously, and I said they needed to sweep the Twins. It looked like they might do that after winning the first 2 games. And then the Yankees, as they are wont to do in this season, laid an egg on Wednesday night, getting beat 4-1 by the Twins. We'll go over each of those games. But to me, again, the Yankees do not look like a team that's going to make any kind of run. If anything, at the very minimum, they will hold on by the skin of their teeth to get a playoff spot. But as far as any kind of run, I just don't think this team has it in them. As I said, Boone and the players have been saying now for weeks, ever since this prolonged slump, if you want to call it that, which now has been going on for well over 2 months. Ever since it's been going on, they've been saying, we're going to come out of it. We've got a really good team. We know we're going to come out of it. And, you've only got 41 games left in the season, and I don't see anything that tells me that they're going to come out of it. They showed a few signs of it against the Twins, but remember, this is the Twins. I mean, if there's one team that the Yankees have been able to beat with regularity over the last few years, it's been the Twins, and they still couldn't come up with a sweep of that series. So let's take a look at the first game. The Yankees go into the first game, get out of the gate very strongly, against the Twins in the first game. They basically came out and put runs up early on. The Yankees ended up winning the game 6-2. But if you look at the stats, the Yankees jumped out really quickly to a 3-0 lead. Will Warren was the starter. He looked really, really good. I've talked about Yankees pitching over the last few podcasts and how these pitchers have not been able to give the Yankees more than 5 innings, sometimes 6, but most of the time 5. And how all of these guys, with the exception of Fried and Rodón before the All-Star break, but now they're included in this as well, have not been able to get their secondary pitches over the plate to set up their best pitches. So they were going into the 5th and 6th innings with 90, 95, 100 pitches. And in today's world of baseball, they're going to be pulled. Well, Will Warren went into the 5th inning with like 55 pitches or 60 pitches. He was set up for an excellent length of a start. He ran into a little trouble in the 7th, gave up a couple home runs, and they pulled him out with 2 outs in the 7th inning. He was, I think, around 90 pitches. He probably could have pitched more, but I guess Boone felt that a 3-2 lead was not enough, and I don't blame him for that move. Okay, I mean, even though Warren could have pitched more, it was a slim lead. He'd given up a home run in the 6th and another one in the 7th, and he took him out. He brought in Luke Weaver, excellent choice. I mean, Luke Weaver is the guy that you want in that situation. He was able to get the out to end the 7th. The Yankees put up 2 runs in the bottom of the 7th to go ahead 5-2. Weaver came out and pitched the 8th and 2 strikeouts, so that brought them to the 9th. Yankees added a run in the bottom of the 8th. Bednar came in the 9th, perfect inning, 2 strikeouts, closed that saved. Well, actually, not a save because it was a 4-run lead, but he got it done. And that's what you want. That's the recipe right there for the Yankees to win, and they did, 6-2. As far as the hitters, in that game, the Yankees drew 2 walks. They struck out 12 times. Now, you may think, well, they won the game, and they did. But remember, the Twins pitcher in that game was a guy by the name of Zebby Matthews. Zebby Matthews is not a very good pitcher. His ERA is over 5, and the Yankees got on him like they should. So you might say, well, excuse me, they didn't. They weren't patient at the plate, and that's fine because this was not a good pitcher. So they took the pitches they got and they hit them, and they won the game. They did strike out 12 times, which I think is a little bit too much. Okay, Zebby Matthews struck out 9 guys. That's too much, and this is a problem the Yankees have been having all year long. Way too many strikeouts, but nonetheless, a good recipe, a Yankee win, and we went to Tuesday night. So we go to Tuesday night, and the Yankees, if it's possible, were even better Tuesday night. They had Carlos Rodón on the mound. He gave the Yankees 7 really strong innings. He struck out 5. He only walked 2, which had been his bugaboo in the last few starts. He gave up 1 hit, 1 run, an earned run, struck out 5 guys. They turned it over to Tim Hill. He pitched 1 perfect inning with a strikeout, and then they brought in, since the Yankees were up 9-1, they brought in De Los Santos, 2 strikeouts, perfect inning, game over. Yankees drew 10 walks in that game, okay? And that's pretty good, I mean, when you think about it. 10 walks in that game against the Twins. Their starter was a guy by the name of Travis Adams. He had an ERA over 7. He walked 4 guys. Then they brought in the reliever, Thomas Hatch. Thomas Hatch walked 6 guys. His ERA is 6. So the Yankees were a little patient, which is fine. Drew 10 walks, only struck out 5 times in Game 2, and won the game 9-1. I mean, they got some home runs. And again, the Yankees used Monday and Tuesday under the plan that our producer Nathan said very eloquently early in the season, the knockout punch, the home run. The Yankees hit a lot of home runs in that game, in the first 2 games, I should say. They had a home run by Stanton. They had a home run by Volpe. They had a home run by Judge. So in Game 2. So the Yankees were very, very efficient and got back to their home run hitting ways. Now, there were some things in that game that I didn't like within the context of the entire series, and I'll get into that in just a minute. So the Yankees go into Wednesday night looking for the sweep of the series. Unfortunately, there was some strong thunderstorms throughout that area, so the game didn't get started till well after 9 o'clock. Now, I don't know much about playing Major League Baseball as far as what do you do when you're in the dugout and you're ready to go or whatever, and there's a delay. I know a lot of teams play cards, but whatever it is, it takes a little bit of the edge off. And it even takes a little bit off the edge of your starting pitcher, right? Because he's got a certain plan of how he gets ready to step on the mound and throw pitch number 1, and I'm sure the hitters do the same. So a long rain delay, the game finally gets started. And in this game, game number 3, the Yankees were not facing a pitcher that was no good or that had a high ERA. They were facing the Twins' best pitcher, a guy by the name of Joe Ryan. Joe Ryan has a 2.7 ERA. He's 12-5 now on the season. He was 11-5 coming into that game. So this was a game that the Yankees could have really taken a step forward by knocking out a team's best pitcher and winning a series. But as the Yankees usually do, they couldn't get that done. So we did have a home run by Cody Bellinger. Bellinger hit a home run in the 3rd inning, which put the Yankees up 1-0. But then Cam Schlittler, who was the starter, gave up that run right back in the 4th inning, so it was 1-1. Now, Schlittler pitched pretty well. In a game against the other team's ace, you want your pitcher to hold the ground, right? To match that pitcher pitch for pitch, inning for inning, so your offense has a chance to take off. And Schlittler did that job. 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, earned run, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks. When they pulled him out of the game, it was a 1-1 game. So then we go to the top of the 6th, 1-1. Now, the game is 1-1. You're in the top of the 6th inning. Up until that time, your hitters had really done nothing. The Yankee hitters had really done nothing. The Yankees, for the night, finished with 5 hits. So what does Boone do? And it's interesting about Aaron Boone. I read an article of a guy that writes an article about the Yankees, and he made an excellent comment. He said, when the Yankees are able to play a game where Aaron Boone does not have to be involved, they usually win. And games 1 and 2 were pretty much that way. But then you get into game 3, and we're in the top of the 6th after they pull Schlittler, and what does he do? He goes to De Los Santos. Now, De Los Santos had a good outing in game 2. All right, 1 inning, 2 strikeouts. These are the Twins. But coming up in the 6th inning was the number 2, 3, and 4 hitters for the Twins, which, regardless of how bad a team is, that's going to be their best hitters, right? De Los Santos doesn't even record an out. He ends up giving up 3 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned. No strikeouts, no walks. Didn't need to. They just hit him around. And we come out of the inning, and the Yankees are losing 4-1. So with a 4-1 deficit, they still have the bottom of the 6th, 7th, and 8th, and 9th, but the Yankees can't do anything. So after that, they bring in Mark Leiter. He pitches a strong 1 inning, 1 hit. They bring in Devin Williams, again in a non-pressure situation, which I think that's all you can use him for right now. He pitches a good inning, strikeout. And then they bring in Duvall for 1, 2 strikeouts, Hedrick for 1, 2 hits and a strikeout. They don't give up any more runs to the Twins. But the Yankees don't score any runs either, and they lose the game 4-1. The Yankees drew 2 walks in that game, which, again, Joe Ryan's a great pitcher, but when you have a great pitcher, you have to try to work the count and get his pitch count up. They couldn't do that. They struck out 9 times, and they lose that game 4-1. So the Yankees didn't get it done. They didn't get a sweep against a team that is 57-64 and well out of the playoff hunt, that basically had traded their entire team at the trade deadline. In fact, the Twins only have 2 guys that are under contract going into next year. So this is going to be a total rebuilding job for the Twins. Now let's take a look at some of the Yankee hitters in this series. Trent Grisham, he's had an excellent season. I mean, no question he's had an excellent season. He was 3 for 13 in the series. He had 1 RBI, struck out twice. So nothing really fantastic. Aaron Judge was 2 for 10 in the series, 1 home run, 4 strikeouts. Giancarlo Stanton was 7 for 13. 7 for 13. 4 RBIs, couple of home runs, did strike out 3 times. Ben Rice was 3 for 11, an RBI, a home run, and 3 strikeouts. Jazz Chisholm was 3 for 10, an RBI and a home run with 4 strikeouts. 4 strikeouts. Goldschmidt was 1 for 8, 4 strikeouts. Ryan McMahon was 2 for 9, 2 strikeouts. Do you see the pattern here? Anthony Volpe was 3 for 10. He had a great game in the second game, 3 RBIs on a home run, a 3-run homer, but he did strike out once. Bellinger was 2 for 11, 3 RBIs, 2 home runs in the series, 2 strikeouts. And Austin Wells only played 1 game. He was 0 for 3 with a strikeout. So it's the same pattern for the Yankees. Here are the batting averages going into the St. Louis series this weekend. Grisham's hitting .244. Judge is hitting .333. I'll get back to that in a minute. Stan's hitting .300, a guy that has not even played a full season. Rice .233, Chisholm .239, Goldschmidt .276. He was once at .357. McMahon .221, Volpe .219, Bellinger .270, Wells .206. So those are your batting averages for a team that thinks they're going to make it back to the World Series. Now let's talk about Aaron Judge. I told our producer when he hit his home run in game number 2 that he hit one of his patented home runs. And what I mean by that is it was a home run as the leadoff batter of the inning with nobody on base. When you put Judge in a pressure situation lately, he can't get it done. Now, he's hitting .333, but since he was pulled out of the game, you remember way back in the Royals series, I'm going way back now, a couple of months, more than a couple months ago, he had played every game up to that point. This was early June, and Boone said he needed a quote-unquote day off. Since that day off, when you couple the time and you couple the 10 days that he was on the disabled list with his flexor strain, he's hitting .235. So Aaron Judge is not doing what Aaron Judge should be doing. Now, you can argue that, well, he's chasing pitches, which he is a little bit, but with Stanton back, with him playing, or with Judge at the DH and Stanton able to play right field, he's got protection behind him. I mean, he's got Stanton behind him, and Stanton's on fire. I mean, here's a guy in Giancarlo Stanton that has played, didn't even start playing until June, and he's already hitting .300. He's already got well over 10 home runs, and he's starting to be more patient at the plate, even though he still strikes out a lot. And I still have some reservations about his swing and his stance, but nonetheless, he's been their best hitter so far since he's been back. Goldschmidt, as I said, .276 doesn't look bad, but he was once hitting .357, and the guy is horrible against right-handed pitching. He cannot hit right-handed pitching anymore. He can hit left-handed pitching very well, but he can't hit right-handed pitching. And every swing, good players have a swing, and then they have a two-strike swing. Bellinger has a good two-strike swing. When he gets down to the count, he doesn't go for the home run. He tries to slap the ball to the open part of the field. Goldschmidt's swing looks the same all the time. It looks always like a two-strike swing. And I don't know what's wrong with him, but he doesn't need to be in the lineup. And I think the Yankees are starting to see that because he's not playing quite as much as he used to. McMahon, I went over this many times. I think they needed a power hitter at third. They ended up getting a defensive player that they already had and a guy that can't hit. He's hitting .221. He strikes out way too much. Volpe, hey, great second game. He's showing a little bit of a pop in his bat. He's doing better. His average has gone up from about 209 or 210 to 219. So maybe he's coming around. I certainly hope so. And then Bellinger hitting .270, struggling a little bit. He was up around 285, but much better than he was when he started the season. And Austin Wells, I'm sorry, he's a project. They need to send him back down to AAA. He's hitting .206, and that's why Rice has been catching more as of late. So same old story with the Yankees. They just can't seem to put multiple games together. And to make this run that they think they're going to make and to give them some comfort, they need to start putting some streaks together. Winning 5-6 games in a row, 7 games in a row. But they haven't been able to do that for quite some time. In fact, I don't know what their longest winning streak is. I'm sure we can look that up. But it doesn't matter. They can't seem to get it done. And the thing that hurt them the most, I think, when you look at the game Wednesday night, is Seattle lost, Toronto lost, and Boston lost. So had they been able to make that sweep, they would have picked up a game on all those teams. Boston and Seattle, who they're fighting in the wild card, and Toronto, the division leader. Coming into this series, this weekend with St. Louis, Toronto will host Texas this weekend. They're probably going to face Nathan Eovaldi, since the Yankees faced him last week, I would think. But either way, Toronto's a better team than Texas. Seattle's at the Mets. That's good for the Yankees because the Mets have been struggling, but they're a good baseball team. Maybe they can deal Seattle a couple of 3 losses. Boston is at Miami. Miami, as we said before when we recapped that series, a very good team. I'm not sure they can beat Boston, but we'll see. And then the Guardians, who the Yankees are only a slim advantage over the Guardians in the wild card. If you look at the wild card right now, the Yankees have a half-game lead over the Guardians for that last wild card spot. They're tied in the loss column. So the Yankees can't afford to be losing games while Cleveland is winning them. In fact, if the Yankees lose Game 1 to St. Louis tonight and the Indians beat the Braves in in Cleveland, the Yankees will be out of the playoffs. So the Yankees need to start making some hay. I mentioned a few weeks ago what their August schedule needed, or how it needed to play out, I thought, for them to have a chance to secure a wild card spot. And what I mean by that is to not be hanging on the edge in the last 2 or 3 games of the season. I said they needed to go 2-1 against the Astros. They needed to sweep the Twins, 3-0. They need to go 2-1 against the Cardinals, 2-0 against Tampa, in Tampa, split with Boston at home at 2-2, sweep the Nationals 3-0 at home, and then take a 3-1 series win against the White Sox in Chicago. So far, they went 1-2 against the Astros and 2-1 against the Twins. So they're already two games behind the pace that I said they needed to set, which means they got to make that up somewhere. The only place I see where they can make it up is they can sweep the White Sox, and maybe they can take 3 out of 4 from Boston. I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe they can sweep the Cardinals. I bet you that's not going to happen either. So I said the Yankees need to go 17-5 for the balance of August. Right now, they're on pace to go 15-7. I think more than likely that's the best I think that it could be. I'm afraid it's going to be somewhere around the area of 13-9, which is not going to get it done. So that brings us to tonight. Tonight, the Yankees start their series in St. Louis. The Yankees will send Luis Gil, as they say, or Gil, I say Gil, to the mound. He's got a 7.27 ERA. Not very good in his first start. Much, much better in his second start. So let's hope that that progression takes a geometric leap tonight and he has a really good outing. The Yankees are going to face a starting pitcher for the Cardinals, Andre Palante. He has a 4.95 ERA. His record is 6-9, so maybe they can make some hay against Palante. One thing that I saw in this series against the Twins, which was a bit encouraging, was the lineup stayed the same pretty much every night. And I think that's good. I think you need to get back to that situation. The notice here was, Dominguez didn't play at all in that series, with the exception of maybe a pinch run situation or a defensive substitution. I know he's nursing a hamstring injury. Maybe that's the reason. But he's been struggling as well, and I think that could be the reason why they're not playing him much, especially with Stanton playing right field. That kind of drops one guy out of that outfield rotation. I like the fact that Stanton can play right field. I think they need to keep that up, keep Judge in the DH spot, and we'll see what happens. But as I said, right now the Yankees will start with St. Louis this weekend. We'll have a recap of that series after it's over. Hopefully the Yankees can maybe get one of the games back that they've lost on the path that I think they need to be in August and sweep the Cardinals. So hope you enjoyed that. Hope you continue to follow the Yankees. The New York state of mind is getting very exciting here as we get ready for football season. The Giants will play their second preseason game tomorrow night, I believe, at home, even though they're playing the Jets, so they'll both be home. But I think the Giants will be the home team. That'll be interesting. As I said, Jackson Dart had a good outing against Buffalo. And then the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame will open their season here in just 16 days against the Miami Hurricanes down in Miami. So getting exciting, getting that time of year. We got some football. We got pennant races and baseball. And we're excited about it here on the New York State of Mind. So hope you enjoyed it. For our producer, Nathan, I'm Ralph, and we'll see you next time.